The weather regulation system in certain areas of Babylonia will switch to precipitation mode from this evening through tomorrow daytime. So, don't forget to bring your rain gear when going out.
Well, what do we have here? Another workaholic. Both you and Nirvatia never know how to stop once you start working. Care to guess who closed the windows, brewed the coffee, and turned on the lights? I'd win the supportive cub competition without breaking a sweat. Oh, whoa! Not many people actually thank a cub. You're way too nice. Don't mention it. Since you went out of your way to set up a perch for me, I'll look after you whenever I'm free. It's not like Nirvatia takes me to her meetings anyway. Who knows when those will ever end? Because I care too much, you jerk! Have you heard the story about the sage who asked the student to fill an empty room? If you ask me, they should put all those bureaucrats Nirvatia deals with in a room together. Their stupidity and constant bickering would make the place burst at the seams. Poor Nirvatia, walking into that execution chamber alone with nothing but her wit and charm, while I get to enjoy freedom in her place. You're not a mechanical raven, so how could you possibly understand what a mechanical raven finds enjoyable? Trying to poach me from Nirvatia? The audacity! I'm impressed. This is exactly the kind of thing she'd love. Just imagine what she'd do to you for... Voice message 1845. Delayed activation. Priority highest. Beginning playback.
By the time you receive this message, I'll no longer be able to answer your questions, Nirvatia. That means I've lost the strength to keep living, and I'm speaking in this capacity one final time. I, Lenore, researcher at the Cub Laboratory of the Science Council, hereby formally report that Professor Walden, our project leader, has concealed dangerous and unauthorized data within test sample batch Cub LN-129. This batch has already been registered and archived. The dangerous data involves radical modifications to enemy targeting algorithms and has not been recalled. I entrust to you my legacy of justice and faithful counsel. When the rains of this world pour down upon you, don't sing your lament alone, Blackbird.
That wasn't me. I have no idea what happened. I couldn't control myself. There's no record of the audio. I swear, Nirvatia.
Oh. No need to rush, little raven. I'm here. Regarding this, I know as much as you do. The security director wouldn't let her Raven go without proper preparation, after all. A familiar name and a hidden accusation. Can we call it fate? Yet another long-buried mystery resurfaces before us both after the Karthiki incident. I'm afraid so. As the security director, I guarantee that your time won't be wasted. Thank you for accompanying me to file the report, my witness. And my fellow traveler.
First, I would like to thank you both for your promptness, Director Nirvatia, Grey Raven Commandant. Have both the prosecution, represented by Director Nirvatia, and the accused, Professor Walden himself, completed their statements?
My apologies. I left home in a rush, and I don't want my wife and children to worry. As I've already stated, those samples were fully compliant with regulations before being archived. The sample size was substantial, and the testing ground has since been damaged and sealed off due to previous attacks. Our limited personnel and resources shouldn't be wasted on this matter. Of course, this comes at a critical time when my laboratory is promoting several collaborations with the world government. I completely understand your caution and will cooperate to the best of my ability.
Very well. If all parties are in agreement, the Control Court will assume full authority over the investigation and handling of this case, effective immediately.
Internal investigation and evidence collection within the Science Council fall under the Security Director's jurisdiction. Why are you excluding me from this, officer?
The whistleblower report has been confirmed to be authentic by the voice analysis, yet for unknown reasons its submission was delayed by years. Under these circumstances, an internal investigation by the department involved is hardly persuasive.
Attempting to circumvent or undermine the established internal security protocols is itself a blow to public confidence. Moreover, the key evidence in this case involves specialized Cub technology. Having internal experts collect evidence would be far more effective in uncovering the truth.
Forgive my frankness, Director Nirvatia, but you yourself are not entirely the product of the Science Council's higher education system, a so-called expert.
Nirvatia has fulfilled the graduation requirements for the specialization in combat unit booster. As for her professional integrity, it was Nirvatia who confiscated Lenore's unauthorized experiment and made the investigation results public back then.
I'm sorry, Chief Technician, but the only concession the Control Court can make is to appoint a mutually trusted supervisor to accompany the investigation. Otherwise, approval would be difficult. Please understand that I must also answer to my superiors. Well, the Grey Raven Commandant is certainly trusted from all sides. If the busy Commandant could spare the time to assist with the investigation, that would be ideal. Does anyone have any objections?
No.
Me neither.
You've been watching me closely, haven't you, little Raven? It seems that the pain does disappear wherever your gaze falls. This place is also a battlefield that needs fighting and defending. There are no allies or enemies that last forever. Yet certain rules never change. For instance, you must always conceal your vulnerabilities. These marks won't become vulnerabilities as long as I grip something tightly. Whether it's a terminal, a weapon, or someone's hand.
You're always rushing about, Nirvatia, where you rarely get a chance to talk. The last time we spoke more than a few words was at Lenore's funeral. You stood so far away, clutching those flowers, and you wouldn't come any closer even when I asked. During your time in my laboratory, she was the only one you were willing to talk to. So many years have passed.
I will not reminisce with the subject of inquiry during an investigation. Let's go, Grey Raven Commandant. Please reconsider, Dr. White. As Dr. Lenore's former colleague and close friend, your testimony is crucial to our inquiry.
Let me repeat myself. I transferred to a different team before her incident, so I never heard anything about this. I fulfilled my obligation to cooperate with your investigation. As for personal matters, I don't want to talk about Lenore with anyone. Especially not with the Council's security director. That's all I have to say.
Why the long face, little Raven? Tired? Interviewing witnesses is like solving puzzles. We need to understand the shape of the locks around people's hearts and find the right key to open them. Just because it's difficult to find at first doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We simply need to reorganize our thoughts and adjust our approach. We're being followed. Look at the intersection behind me. Morgan says the man in the beige trench coat with the stand-up collar has been following us for 3 blocks. And he wasn't the first one. I've never been fond of shadowy games and interference. Regardless of who they are, we need to create a distraction to draw their attention away from the actual investigation. That's pretty easy. Here, put your hand on my waist. So decisive. Don't tell me you've been wanting to do this. Follow me. Let's find a better place to talk.
I've never seen you bring someone here alone before, Nirvatia. Your +1 here must be quite unique.
Quite unique indeed. The Grey Raven Commandant is a notable figure after all.
That's not what I meant. How about trying our signature cocktail? All drinks come in both human and construct versions. And if you haven't had dinner yet, our appetizers are quite exceptional.
Already trying to uncover my personal favorites. Bold birdies deserve encouragement. We'll have 2 of my regular. Have my private room prepared, please. Send all our orders there.
Sure thing.
Wanna try? You catch on quick, little raven. Now, let's throw those unwelcome tails the last few breadcrumbs. The private room should be ready now. The night is long, but the dreams are fleeting. We'd better make the most of it.
Impressive, Nirvatia. Those tails stopped watching the moment you two went inside. I'll keep an eye on the outside, so call me if you need anything. Actually, better not. I get the feeling you're about to do something a mechanical raven shouldn't witness, so I'll just...
Come, sit and relax. I installed the signal jammers here myself. Now we can truly have some alone time. How are you finding the work of a security director, Grey Raven Commandant? Your adaptability has surely been forged in fire. The Karthiki incident. Now this. When dealing with those with ill intentions, it's far easier to show them what they want to see than to work against their expectations. For instance, investigation hits dead end. Nirvatia seeks comfort from partner. They'll convince themselves of that narrative without us having to lift a finger. But the more comfortably one lives in their self-deception, the more furious they become when that illusion shatters. I prefer to view that fury as a testament to my capabilities. The more time I spend with you, the more I find your perspective fascinating. Don't stop surprising me, little raven. Now, let's lay out all the information we collected and take turns asking each other questions. Perhaps we can reconstruct the events and organize our thoughts together. Witnesses, evidence, involved parties. For this puzzle, I'll make the first move.
As you can see, they're asking for the test results for this collaboration urgently. I'm a busy man. I simply can't spare the time.
You must remember how we all secretly envied the amount of resources Professor Walden invested in Lenore at the time, Nirvatia. Of course, that investment came with immense pressure. To be honest, it's been so long. And since the professor specifically assigned her to the project, I wasn't in any position to access or question the details as an uninvolved party.
As for personal matters, I don't want to talk about Lenore with anyone. Especially not with the Council's security director.
As a task force commandant, you've traveled to many places and interacted with different people in ways that differ from my own. Truth often hides behind difficult dilemmas. In your opinion, why have our witnesses chosen to remain silent? He is in charge of a collaboration that Professor Walden negotiated. If something happens to Walden, there are two possible outcomes for him. The bad outcome? The collaboration is terminated, and all his efforts are wasted. The good outcome? He proves his innocence and takes over Walden's position. Several others are in similar situations. Indeed. Her reaction proves that we don't currently have enough evidence to give neutral parties the confidence to be forthright. He believes my investigation led to Lenore taking her own life. If I approach him alone, he probably won't say a single word to me. Self-interest, information, sentiments. What would make someone set aside their immediate concerns and find enough courage to confront their painful memories? What enlightening answers. I'll give them serious thought. Your turn to ask questions. That chapter of my life. I've never had the right opportunity to share it with you until now. A naive, solitary bird who believed her voice, untempered by suffering, was enough to speak for those who were wronged. Her wings were burned away by righteous fury. She fell into another world with a different set of rules. That day, I walked into the Science Council clutching my damaged virtual pet console. It wasn't Asimov who guided me to the laboratory. It was Lenore. She was the one who first taught me the technology to remake Morgan.
I'll stay in the past. You all must continue moving forward.
Why? Why would you go to a place like that? I've been wrong about you from the very beginning. You'll never be Carthaginian!
From this day forward, temper your ambition and brilliance. Practice restraint and patience. Gather your strength and wait for the day when you can unsheath your blade.
Wake up, Nirvatia. You're going to hurt yourself. Calm down and breathe with me.
I'm all right. Thank you.
It's nothing. What's the problem?
Still diagnosing. I just finished testing the hardware and it's fine, so it may be a software compatibility issue. The program has only been run with artificial data in test environments until now. I'm working on it.
All right. I can help take a look after my current dataset finishes processing tomorrow. It's 3 in the morning. If you're determined to stay and monitor this, at least get some sleep first. I have a folding bed. After all, you're still flesh and blood. Better use them wisely.
Why are you teaching me so much? I'm not your mentee. I'm an outsider with a disciplinary record. I have nothing to offer you in return.
In this place, sharing too much when you know too little isn't wise. I sound like I'm 20 years older saying that. Anyway, be careful. Questions like why can be as dangerous as saying, I can't. As for teaching you, I was the only one in this lab during the early hours before you came. Consider it my thanks for your unintentional company. Give me a second. When you're struggling to keep going, have a cookie to console yourself. That life isn't quite as brittle.
Life isn't quite as brittle. I can't believe those words came from her. In those rare moments, I feel as though that lab coat imprisoned a witty poet. Only briefly, though I frequently saw her name in Morgan's maintenance logs. Neither Walden nor any other lab director would keep a rebellious outsider around for long. Asimov's legal guarantee was merely a foot in the door, not a badge of acceptance, much less a shield against scrutiny. My position here was something I had to carve out myself. The Cub Lab, the Radiation Chemistry Lab, the Nanotechnology Center. I moved from one place to another, rapidly absorbing everything I was permitted to access, from research methodologies to laboratory protocols. They called me the ghost of the Science Council behind my back. Eventually, this ghost knocked on Asimov's door with a presentation that demonstrated every possible way to circumvent the Council's security protocols. You can imagine his expression. That conversation earned me a position in the security department. Among those I investigated, Lenore was far from the worst offender, or the most severely punished. But every heart is tethered to a new day by an invisible thread. And hers snapped in that moment. Visible only in hindsight. That's the second half of Morrigan's tale. The raven flies onward, leaving the past behind. You know, both your gaze and your words are equally disarming. Anyway, our review session isn't over yet. Any thoughts after hearing the story? That sounds like Lenore, with her forward planning and photographic memory. Manually checking all of Morrigan's underlying code would take too long, I'm afraid. Finding the right entry point would be much faster. Let's think about what's inconsistent in our existing clues. That report. The only ambiguous line in the report was the final one. When the rains of this world pour down upon you, don't sing your lament alone, Blackbird. Little Raven, look at me. Let's try reciting this line together.
Hidden Document 1846. Delayed activation. Priority highest. Voice recognition password. Speak her name. Document unlocked.
Bullseye. So, this was a puzzle designed for two people. Come, Commandant. Let's claim our hard-earned prize together. I gift you here my tears-forged arrows, awaiting the verdict of your heart. Some people on this list we've already visited, others we haven't. Look, Dr. White is the first name here. He was definitely holding something back. Whatever these arrows may be, Lenore must have given them to the people on this list before her death. They're still keeping her secret. You're right. This poem is likely the key to unlocking the secret. Time to make our next move. Let's start on the highest difficulty. I have a new idea on how to persuade Dr. White. Last time, I contacted the witnesses in my name. How about we use yours this time? You don't mind if I borrow the Grey Raven Commandant's prestige, do you? I've already written the letters. You can just polish the wording to match your tone. Are you worried about the non-disclosure part of being the security director? Oh dear. If you happen to see anything, you'll either have to spend all night signing stacks of confidentiality agreements, or be reluctantly redesignated to the Science Council as my chief secretary. Won't you at least consider my second proposal, Little Raven? My invitation is quite sincere. I like that answer. You've convinced me. For now. Relax. This isn't my work terminal, it's my personal one. And you're welcome to look at anything inside. I've always given you my personal contact details. Consider it just another gem in our shared treasure chest of secrets. The meeting is scheduled for tomorrow morning. It seems he's just as eager as we are. Keep up the pace, Little Raven. I have a feeling that this chess game in the shadows is coming to an end. What follows will be a much more thrilling clash of wits.